On today's video, we're going to talk about 6 regrets that people have whenever they move right here to the Woodlands, Texas. You might be thinking about relocating here to Texas, and you may have heard about the Woodlands, Texas. You've probably heard how it's ranked #1 city in America to live in, how the schools are really great, the community is really great, and how this community has a lot of amenities to offer its residents. Today, we're going to talk about those, but we're also going to talk about regrets that people have whenever they move here, things they might have done differently. Now, we have a whole video about the villages of the Woodlands, how the Woodlands is laid out, what you need to know, and where everything is. So be sure to reference that video after you're done watching this one. My name is Chase with the Giles real estate team right here, and I've lived in the Woodlands basically my whole life. I grew up here, I went to high school here, I live here now, and I get to help families relocate to our community each and every single day. And so I want to provide as much information for people that are looking to relocate right to our amazing city. Let's get into this video with #1 of the first thing that people regret. In no particular order, the very first thing that I want to talk about is where people choose to live. Now, if you do this wrong, this definitely can be a regret. But if we ask the right questions and learn about your motivation and what's important to you, this will not be a regret for you. So the #1 thing that could be the regret is specifically where you're going to be living within the Woodlands. Now, where we commonly see this come up as an issue is commute times. If you're working in Houston by chance, if you choose Sterling Ridge, that's quite a long drive for you to drive to the I-45 and then south all the way into Houston. So that'd be a pretty big regret if you're having to do that every single day. Maybe it's being close to a place of worship. You want to be right next to your church. Some people may not realize how often they're commuting to these areas and they want to live closer. That could be a reason for wanting to move. Another reason is proximity to maybe a grocery store or a shopping center. If you're like my wife and I and we like to cook, you find ourselves going to the grocery store quite often. So making sure that it's a priority for us to live close to those grocery stores that we frequent, whether it be H-E-B, Kroger, or Whole Foods, is a good question to ask. And we may regret moving to a neighborhood that's not close to the grocery stores because we go there often. So depending on who you are, what your priorities are, location definitely matters. And we want to make sure that you don't regret that. Now, the next regret, #2, that people have whenever they move to the Woodlands is actually going to be the weather. Now, as you know, we are a Houston suburb and we are in Texas. So we definitely get a lot of heat. In the summers, it can get up to 110 degrees. Now, we're filming this video in October right now, and we just got done with summer. The weather's actually beautiful at the moment, but I'm pretty used to it. I've lived here basically my whole life, but some of our past clients have said they really underestimated how hot it is in the summer. And because we're in Houston, we actually get quite a bit of humidity as well. So you can really feel the humid weather and you feel the heat whenever you live in the Woodlands. After a few summers, you kind of get used to it and you can definitely acclimatize to the heat. But it was a little shocking for some of our clients that have relocated here, maybe from awesome weather in California or further up north in Michigan. All of those people kind of had to get used to our weather and get accustomed to how hot it feels here in Houston, specifically the Woodlands. Now, I promise that you'll only regret the heat during the summer. The rest of the year, it's actually really, really great weather here in Houston. I personally like it, although we have rain and, some hurricanes every once in a while. Overall, the Houston weather, in my opinion, isn't that bad, and it really shouldn't be a huge regret for you. Now, the third regret actually plays off of the heat that we get in Houston during the summer, and that regret is not purchasing a home with a sprinkler system for the front and backyard. Now, because of the heat that we get, things can get a little dry. We know we typically get a good amount of rain, but this past summer, we really didn't have much rain. So a sprinkler system or watering your grass was pretty vital for it to maintain a healthy look and for you to kind of want to upkeep your front yard. So in order to avoid the hassle of having to go out to your yard and manually water areas of grass or buying sprinkler systems and dealing with timers and everything, I've had clients tell me that is something they wish they would have purchased in a home or at least upgraded right after they moved in. Now, fortunately, we do get quite a bit of shade from large trees in the Woodlands, but it still is an important thing to maintain a healthy yard. So if you're thinking about moving here and you want to have a big yard, because that is a nice part, since we are in nature, it's nice to have a great yard. It's important to have a sprinkler system so that your front grass doesn't die in the Houston heat. Before we hear about the fourth regret, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're thinking about moving to the Woodlands, Texas, subscribe to the channel so you never miss another video about living or moving right here to the Woodlands, Texas. Now, if you're thinking about moving to Texas, one of the big things that you're probably curious about is our property tax system. So regret number 4 plays into that. A couple people that we know who purchased homes here did not file their homestead exemption. So that was a regret of theirs, is that as soon as they updated their Texas driver's license, they regretted not filing for their homestead exemption. Now, that's going to put a cap of no more than 10% increase in value on their assessed home each and every year, which is great. It's a nice tax break that we get in Texas. And so their property taxes crept up. Fortunately, we had a conversation about this. They called me whenever they got their property tax bill, they noticed it was high, and you can retroactively protest or file your homestead exemption here in Texas, which is good for about 2 years, but there's a waiting period. You may have to pay the existing year and get a refund, so you don't want to have to go through that hassle. They just regretted not doing it immediately whenever they purchased their home. Regret number 5 of some of our clients who have moved to the Woodlands is that they didn't purchase an updated home, and they wish they would have. So the Woodlands was originally, the development originally started in 1974. So some of these houses are 50 years old in some cases. So they need some new plumbing, need new countertops, new windows, new roofs, things like that. And so there were some clients that, depending on the market or how competitive it was, they had to offer on homes where, maybe it needed a new air conditioner, but they just needed a plate. So they made that offer, which happens in the crazy market of, Texas and in the past couple of years of people relocating here. But that was a regret of theirs. They wish maybe they could have found something that already had the work done. And fortunately, we're starting to see a lot more of that. These homes, like my personal house, was built in 1985, but it is renovated. It's got quartz countertops. It's got a modern bathroom. It's got great flooring. People will sometimes even re-insulate the attics for extra energy efficiency. So they wish that maybe they had a little bit more time and a little bit less pressure whenever they moved here to find that home that not only met their needs in the right location, but also had the updates. Now, our 6th and final regret of moving to the Woodlands is going to be the restaurants and food here. Now, there are plenty of options. There's super nice restaurants that we have, nice steakhouses, 60 Vines, everything that you've heard and seen in Market Street area. But we do have a lack or a need for some smaller mom and pop restaurants that are local to the Houston community and maybe provide a little bit more diverse palette for different cultures here in the Woodlands. And so for that, you actually have to drive into Houston. Now, Houston has an amazing food scene, absolutely amazing food scene. My wife and I personally go down into Houston often to visit some of our favorite restaurants, but we do wish that those restaurants had second locations here in the Woodlands. So I'm not saying that there's not good food here, because there absolutely is. But if you want something a little bit more unique or a little bit more one-off or even ethnic, you probably have to drive into Houston. So that's a regret of ours, is that we wish we could have somehow taken some of the food scene from Houston, brought it up here. And really the reason for that is the commercial real estate, or these village centers that we have in the Woodlands, are really well thought out. And the commercial real estate, the prices to rent these places and to build them out is quite expensive. So it's a little hard and risky for, a very small restaurant to open its first location in the Woodlands. Now, we are seeing some of these places from Houston opening up additional locations up here, which gets myself and others who kind of might be a little bit of a foodie excited for, the culinary food that's coming up here. But it's a regret of maybe not being able to live as close to those fun kind of nightlife areas, plus the culture and the cuisine that you get down in Houston. Now, although there are some regrets or maybe critiques that people have of moving to the Woodlands, I will say the pros outweigh the cons. Like I said earlier, I get to help families who are looking to relocate to the Woodlands each and every single day. And it is an easy community to sell people on because there's so much here, whether it's culture or nature or, location or quality of life or neighborhoods. We really can find the exact right house for you if you are looking to move here. So if you are doing that, our contact information is going to be down below in the description of this video. There's either my cell phone number or a little survey you can fill out, and we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice if you're considering moving right here to the Woodlands, Texas. Thanks for your time. Reach out to us. Give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, and we'll see you soon. I'll see you on the next video.